All right, guys, just gonna say straight up, all your fears, all the hype, all the concern, everything you have about it, you can put it to rest. Ferdinand is delightful. I wouldn't think that John Cena can carry a movie, but he's really good.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree.
Yeah?
Because, it was a little too Star Wars-y for me.
You think so? I thought, the minute I saw this, I said, man, that's a bunch of bull. No, okay, let's get right to it.
First off, spoiler alert, Luke is his own father.
Yeah.
They finally revealed that.
I was kind of surprised at.
He had an argument with himself. It was great.
Yeah.
That's not true. That's impossible. Search my feelings. No!
Okay, well...
Then he just threw himself off the island.
I'm sorry. Now it just... he throws himself off. Okay, so just... Straight up, we're not going to have spoilers at the beginning. We'll go into them a little bit later, but
we may have to because it's impossible not to.
I love whenever I sit here, the light is like reflecting perfectly off my head, so I look like bald Jesus. But you really don't care about that right now.
That's the only time we're going to have the words "you" and "Jesus" in the same sentence,
but not bald. So
speaking of space Jesus, Luke.
Yes. Okay, so like I said, we won't get into spoilers. We'll just say real fast what we thought of this movie. I really liked it.
I did too.
Yeah, my first initial fear was that it was going to be Empire Strikes Back again, and
slightly, but way different enough that you wouldn't even know.
I don't know if it's appropriate or not to quote George Lucas on this, but when he was making the prequels,
Jar Jar is the key.
That was the quote. You got it.
Thank you.
He said something that I doubt he originated because it's so good, but maybe he did. He said, I don't like to repeat, I like scenes to rhyme. I like elements to rhyme. And in Force Awakens, granted, I got why, but there was a lot of repeating of A New Hope and even the Empire Strikes Back.
It was a 50-50 split of repeating and rhyming. And
yeah, I liked
the rhyming. The repeating, just second Death Star kind of thing.
This felt like rhyming. This felt like we have evolved to a new spot. The characters have come a long way. They're where they should be. There's almost another mythos being developed, while there's also a past mythos there that we're finding out more and more about, and I feel like it's developing.
And we're also finally putting the past mythos, all of Lucas's rhymes, kind of in a box and going, we're going to be done with this now, we think. Finally.
In many respects, they destroy it once and for all when you really think about it, but we'll get to that.
You know what? This is the first time in a Star Wars movie, since probably Empire, where I felt like I'm seeing something new.
Yeah.
Like, that
it really
feels
felt like
new. And for the first time since Empire, I'm seeing something challenging. Like, this movie, it's not a ha-ha, isn't this fun movie? It's kind of challenging. You kind of leave the cinema going, huh.
Even when they try to be
not a bad thing. Who would have thought Star Wars would be a challenging movie?
Yeah, well, Empire, I think for a lot of people was a little challenging.
That's the closest to challenging, but since then, honestly, in many ways, I think this is a little more challenging than Empire. Some of the things
I feel like the prequels were trying to be challenging, but it didn't work. But if you were just to say the basic story of that, it's like, well, that is kind of challenging, but it doesn't succeed. This succeeds, and it's interesting, and it feels big and grand. You feel like you just watched a trilogy in this one film. It's like this guy had one Star Wars movie, and he's like, I'm gonna go all out. This is like my opus.
I turned to you right when the end credits rolled. I was like, well, I just feel like the trilogy ended right there. There's another movie? What the hell are they gonna do?
You kind of take a breath, like, okay. In terms of stuff I didn't like, again, I won't get into too many spoilers. The stuff I don't like, I feel, is, again, kind of nitpicky, like nothing too bad, but there is one major thing.
Very side quest.
Very side quest.
Very Legend of Zelda. Like, they're just, every second you think something's gonna happen, like, it's just like, and now we need to do this thing. Get to it, Link! Like,
yeah, it's not, I can't say it's bad. It's not.
The movie,
it's not bad. But every time it comes back to it, I'm
Empire
like,
did.
okay, this.
Yeah.
Can we get through this so we can get back to Luke and Rey?
There's a sequence at a casino that just feels like it's in a whole different movie. It goes Casino Royale all of a sudden, and it's the first time that I felt kind of like, I'm like, this feels almost prequel territory.
Me
just
too.
With how
I
foreign
felt that
and now it felt foreign to Star Wars, and it felt kind of like the way the prequels just had the 50s diner, and you're
That's
like,
my
well, that's a
exact
50s
thought.
diner.
Well, I said, well, that's the 50s diner scene. It's just they changed a few signs. It didn't make it quite as bright, but it's like, yeah, it's just, you look at, well, that's a casino, where I felt like when
it's
you
not
saw...
as obnoxious as that scene, but I'm just like, this does not fit with the rest of the movie.
I feel like in the first Star Wars, when they go to Mos Eisley and they go in the cantina, well, that's a bar. You get that.
Yeah.
But if you were to see electric lights, if you were to see little advertisements, if you were to see, like, bottles, but they didn't really do that. They were kind of these weird glasses, and it was a weird
if you
band.
saw
It was a
actual
weird-looking
Corona
place.
ads or Corona scant ads.
And granted, there's no ads in this, but you just look at it, it's like, oh, okay, they changed that up and put some aliens in suits. Like, that's it. Oh, and they made the suits a little odd looking. Like, that's
Williams'
about it.
score there is not alien sound. Like, the cantina jazz scene sounds just alien enough where you're just like, oh, it's jazzy, but it feels, and it's
otherworldly.
This one, I was just like, this is just a 1920s jazz kind of thing going on. It's really weird.
In New Hope, it felt otherworldly. This felt like
Yeah.
aliens in a casino.
So
but
that was the biggest thing to me that stuck out like a sore thumb. And generally, the whole, if it's Rey and Luke, it was fine.
yes.
And whenever it cuts away, it just, all of the side quests and stuff didn't have that same sense of drive. I got a little bored, whereas when I think of Empire, I'm like, no, when you cut to Han and Leia and Chewie all running away, it's great. Them on Cloud City, still great.
Them hiding in that way. And there's...
Luke being trained by Yoda, great. Every single thing worked. And then this one, it's very much like Rey and Luke, great. This other stuff, anywhere from what to okay to... alright, that's pretty good. Like, but it's never like got that same drive. It's too complicated.
And even with an Empire, with Han Solo and Leia and stuff, you know, trying to get away, it's still them trying to get away from Darth Vader. And those are all such interesting characters. And you're introduced to a new character who isn't bad.
I actually really liked her.
Yeah, no, she's very likable.
I like her too because she didn't suffer from the Star Wars.
But you know what I mean? Where it's like the others are
she
Han
just
Solo and Leia and Chewie and stuff, whereas this way it's Finn and this other woman, and they're fine.
Grunt.
They're not bad.
And I kind of like that. That it's like, okay, we're not getting like a Harrison Ford, or it's just like, you know, she's kind of like Finn. She's like, here's another person who just, you know, works on some shit down in the lower decks.
Yeah.
I don't know. I enjoyed that.
No, I mean, it's one of those things where
But the quests they send them on are overly complicated.
Yeah,
I get kind of like a little like...
No, because in Empire, you're stuck on the ship with them, but they're so interesting. And then they go to Cloud City, and Cloud City is so interesting. And here it's like, well, okay, they're traveling to this place that's a casino, and you're there for a while. She suddenly throws this story about, like, you know, the past and how they treat the people here and stuff like that. It's like...
And I like that. I feel that ties together.
Good,
I like
and
that.
it comes together at the end.
I did like the production design of it, though.
No, but you know what I mean? Where it's like, well, okay, sucks. There's kind of all this other shit going on that's really important, and time's kind of the essence here. But it's...
I think her whole point
comes
is...
back, but it doesn't feel as urgent.
When you sell your
I mean?
soul on the small stuff, when you're willing to do that, you know, it has bigger effects. You know, she's on an entire planet that basically they're just selling their souls to basically fund the war machine and get rich off it. So I think that's an important lesson, particularly if you're starting to rebuild this mythos and say, hey, you know,
show a little bit how the world is. Yeah.
It just, there was too much just do this, do that, do that, do this. I liked how the casino scene ended. And
yeah,
it's
me
like,
too.
Now we gotta sneak on a Star Destroyer. Now we gotta do this. And it's a slow build. Eventually it starts coming together. And when it does, I'm like, okay,
it's really
now
good.
we're okay. But it just takes a while to get there. And I'm just like, this is a long movie.
Because there's kind of two climaxes almost to this. Like, I had to remind myself, oh yeah, there's like... gotta be another half hour of this movie left, because I'm thinking the trailers and where it has to go.
The movie pulls a couple of, like, fast ones on you, and I thought, oh, we're done. And then when we got to the climax, I'm like, Oh yeah, that shit was
Yeah,
in the trailer.
me
I
too.
forgot about this whole
But
scene.
at the same time, I was excited to see
Yeah.
more. It's kind of the feeling I got when I used to watch James Cameron movies, where it's like there was almost like another ending, but instead of being like, oh, geez, are we still going? It's like, yes, even more! Or like
James
Avengers.
Cameron knew how to do that.
Avengers,
yeah.
where it looks like, oh, it's just gonna end with Hulk punching that thing, and then they're gonna die. But no, even more of those things come through, and you're excited. And that's what I got with this. You feel like, yes, oh my god, like everything's kind of been building up to this, and you're really excited, and it really delivers.
It's very Rogue One-ish. It's better than Rogue One, definitely, but it has that same issue of, like, the first half, you're kind of plodding through it. And then all of a sudden, somewhere, it just clicks, and you're just like, how was I not thinking, like, an hour ago, this wasn't the greatest movie ever made?
I'll disagree a little bit, because Rogue One did not have anything as good as the Luke and Ray scenes. I thought every time they were on screen, it was solid, and it really called back to other different myths and not just Star Wars.
But the way it was paced, it just felt like sometimes it would just randomly cut away with those Star Wars wipes.
Well, yeah, but again, I wish it was just on them. I wish it would actually go all the way and just have it on them, but I get why.
It killed the momentum. So as much fun as I had with those scenes, I would just kind of go, like I was enjoying that. Like, cut back to that. Like, and that.
So those are still really solid, and I think both of them are so good. Hamill especially. I mean, we haven't seen him like act in a while. I mean, he's done
great.
He's done brilliant voice acting, but we haven't seen him on screen like
it's
really
great because
seriously act. And
because
he's
we know
solid.
now it's that old gravelly like Mark Hamill voice of his coming out of Luke Skywalker, and I'm like, man, you really did become badass, didn't you?
Yeah, no, and it's great. And again, we can't go into the climax of this, but yeah, like you said, they do pull a few fast ones that it didn't like shock me, but I didn't see it coming. It's like a few minutes before it happens, it's like, okay, they're probably gonna do this.
There was no twist. There was one. There were two twists that kind of got me, and I'd have to go in the spoiler corner, but for most,
there's no mind blown.
Yeah, for most of the movie, there were no twists that I couldn't have been like, okay, that was one of like three options I was thinking of. There was nothing that I was like, oh my god, whatever. I'm like, I can't believe they did that.
Yeah,
but it still felt kind of challenging because I wouldn't have expected them coming off the Abrams film necessarily to do that, because the Abrams film was playing it more safer.
Well, I think because not only did they make these choices, but they also shot it so grand, and there's quiet moments, and there's moments where they don't need to talk, and just the music can take over, and it really is brave enough to do that, where a lot of big blockbusters aren't. And again, I think that does sort of reinforce why the Force Awakens needed to kind of repeat it so we could get to this point.
It's not easy answers. I think a lot of people are going to leave the cinema going, well, but I had this image of these characters, and it's now I feel like it's kind of sullying on them a bit. Like it kind of removes the whole point of the film. I think is to kind of remove that sense of like legend, like maybe you shouldn't Messiah worship to such a degree, and it's about like kind of seeing the man behind the curtain, particularly with Luke.
Well, and again, they do, it felt so organic the way it was sort of passing on from one generation to a next, and how they did it. And the connections are still there, and again, the rhymes, not necessarily the repeats, that go through it. And again, I felt like, man, is this what the prequel
much more
should have been.
in this one. There's like scenes that have that Return of the Jedi Emperor talking to feel...
Oh, yeah.
And twists and turns there, and you just feel like... It's like, I somehow have seen this before, but this feels fresh.
Yeah, and Empire. There are elements of Empire as well.
It just felt much more fresher in this than I think in Force Awakens.
It doesn't feel like they're looking and winking at the camera. We said that line. See, it feels... Yeah, it feels much more like, no, this is what would naturally happen.
Yeah.
And it's earned and it built up to those points, and so that when you do get to the climax and it's shot beautifully and it looks beautifully and here's all these characters doing just grand, huge things, it all feels like this is exactly where we should be. This is the next step that Star Wars should be taking. So I'm very, very happy about that.
I think my favorite scene was... I don't think it's Empire Strikes Back-ish, so the rebellion keeps getting beat back further and further and further, and just when it's just like that, the handful of everybody left, and it's just like, well, this is it. Like, what are we gonna do? And they like start unpacking their shit. Like, we're a fucking set up and fight. I loved that scene. Like, just what a great message. Just like, just resist. Just keep going. And they didn't even blink. It was like they were unpacking their laptops, like setting up a new base. I love that. I think that was my favorite scene in the movie. And then just Mark Hamill gives a sly wink, and it's just so perfect.
Yeah, it's just really, really good, guys.
The finale was gorgeous. The finale is shot literally like a Western. It's like high noon.
Like a Western with robots.
Yeah, a Western with giant robots, and there's like the sun setting. It's like a red sky. It's like a dusty, barren. Like I'm just like, wow, this feels both really epic, which is what I did like about Force Awakens, the battle between Kylo Ren and Rey in the forest, and the way the canyon split. And I love that battle. I was like, they kind of do it again, but it feels fresh. It looks really cool, and it's a weird mix of what like kind of Lucas had in mind originally, which is it's both this epic space sword thing, but also just kind of a Western.
Well, and again, it's
this big duel.
Literally boils down.
It looks like a really good anime. Is what it looks like.
It boils down to what Star Wars really at the heart really is. It's all this sci-fi, all this giant technology and stuff. But when you boil down to it, it's just this little family squirrel, and that's really what it comes down to. You know, again, without giving away too much in the climax.
This guy gets it. Like
he really gets it.
I think like Lucas used to, and Cursor and Empire, where it's just like it's always about this image of like two people, swords drawn, staring at each other. That's the part of Star Wars that the space battles too, but that's the part about Star Wars I just love when they like face off each other. And I'm like, yeah, shit's getting real.
This might be my favorite looking of them, too. Not necessarily of, like, you know, because you think of, like, the casino and stuff, that's not very matchy. And there's one or two creatures.
No, when it got really good looking, it got really good looking. But it was like, a slow build, though.
You know what it is? When it was operatic, that's when I'm like, this is
the finale,
gorgeous. And this is good. There's so many shots of people just looking at the sunset. There's so many shots of people just looking in silence. There's so many, like, incredible moments where either the scenery does the talking or just the character sitting alone, you know, thinking about everything that's going on does the talking, you know. And even with that said, some of the dialogue, just those short, quick little lines that aren't many words, but they pack such a punch. I mean, that I think Star Wars was also great at. And again, the prequels didn't do. They talked way too much, went on and on and on. This really
You didn't like the endless debates about taxation in the trade lanes outside of
totally Rico. Whatever that was.
No, Vader, no, we are your friends.
I also like, too, there is still comedy in this, but where, again, I feel like in the first one you had to really sort of drive in the comedy. It was good, and it's funny. You know, Disney especially is just really on board, really on top of their comedy. And this has funny moments, but it's really like, let's not put them in when they're not needed. Let's really let the drama set in.
The comedy for me was a little... some parts, particularly near the end, I thought really, really worked. And there were a few comedic scenes where I'm just like, this kind of died. But it didn't... I was like, it wasn't offensively bad. I'm just
it wasn't, they did that.
I'm trying to think if there was one line that stuck out as really funny that really worked, but
I mean, we don't want to give it away anyway.
Yeah, but there's
Hamill had some very funny lines.
Yeah, Hamill's got a lot. Kylo Ren of all people, I think, has a couple.
And one past character who comes back has some really, not just funny, but very poignant lines. We'll get to that when we get to that. So, yeah.
And poignant, by the way, Carrie Fisher in this movie.
Christ.
There's a scene near the end where I'm just
you could just call her whole performance beautiful irony.
Yeah, there was like one scene there that I was like fine throughout most of the movie, but near the end, there was like, when it was getting near the end, there was one scene where I'm just like, don't do this to me, movie. Don't do this.
Yeah, me
Don't
too.
do this. It's like all about goodbyes. I'm like, don't you dare.
The one is, see, I was a little ready for that, even though that was a real powerhouse. But again, when this other character comes back, that was the one that was like, give that back, give that back. So it's okay. So bottom line, I'm trying to think anything else before we go into spoiler territory that's like that we need to address. I mean,
I don't think so. This is the first Star Wars film that I feel like has actually challenged me to be like, oh, maybe we need to actually start like rethinking what Star Wars is. Maybe it's becoming something new again and fresh, but not in a crummy way. It's not an easy movie, and people who leave this going, I don't know. I would get that. I'm not going to sit here and be like, what the hell's the matter with you? But I really enjoyed it, but I can't even talk about it that much because I feel like I need to see it a second time.
To me, it feels the closest to after the original trilogy came out that they wrote these books, and they were, continuing the stories.
It does have an expanded universe.
It really has that feel. Because I really feel like
it feels like we're hitting notes, but yeah, it feels like this is where we're hitting notes to familiarize yourself, but we're also doing our own thing. Of course, we just brought up the expanded universe, and now we're gonna have 1,000 people getting into fights about it. It's like, that's why I'm gonna watch the new one because he got rid of the expanded universe. So
I didn't afraid of it. Whatever, pick your poison or whatever. This is really what I wanted to see in another Star Wars movie, and I like Star Wars fine.
Even Snoke's a little better.
Snoke looks so much better.
He does.
Oh
look
my
better.
God, does he look better?
We'll talk in the spoil.
But why couldn't they do makeup?
What is it? Yeah, why couldn't they do makeup? And what is going on with the Hugh Hefner thing? He's in a fucking yellow.
I want to see him with a little martini,
he's in a fucking yellow smoking jacket. I want him to have a pipe there. Yeah, martini in his hands. Like, welcome to my Imperial bachelor pad. Like it.
Hey, Ray babe.
I don't want to get into spoilers, but like his whole. It's all done in red. This sultry red color.
No,
and
that set is gorgeous.
No, it's gorgeous, but
his outfit's really weird.
But with the red color, I just feel like is this like the Imperial Grotto? What's going on?
Yeah, instead of the lightsaber, I want to see him with the remote, like.
It felt like a scene out of The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Sorry, Snoke, I still jerk off manually.
Anywho,
we're in the digital age, dude.
Very much enjoy it. Isn't perfect, particularly in the first third. There are slow moments, particularly with the side quests, and nitpicky moments. That we'll get into.
I don't think it's just we're gonna have to accept it at some point. Lightning's not gonna strike twice. The line from
original Star Wars.
Well, yeah, and I think the line from Family Guy is just gonna sum up everything. From here on out, which is, what can I say, Peter? It's not Empire. Like, we had that one that just seemed everything clicked. We're never really going to get that back. Like, it's ingrained in our brains, and everybody says that's the best one.
But I don't want that back. I want something like this.
And that's what I like about this. It may be imperfect, but I was like, I feel like we're going into some slightly different territory.
We're going somewhere. We're not going back, and we're not going back and doing it worse, and we're not going to this direction that's like, wait, where even are we? This is Star Wars? It feels like, no, we are going somewhere. I'm excited to get there. That's our thoughts, If you're a Star Wars fan, you're going to go see it anyway.
I'd say see it.
Yeah, so definitely. So, okay, let's go into spoiler territory. Where do we even start? Super Leia was weird.
Super Leia.
That was really weird to me.
Okay, now that we're in spoiler... Okay, I thought they were going to kill her right there.
Everybody did!
Well, she disappeared. Then when it cut to her body floating in space, I'm like... Well, okay, maybe this. Maybe this is gonna. Well, when her fingers started moving, here's what I thought was gonna. I thought
she was gonna communicate with Luke.
Yeah, I thought she's gonna communicate with Luke. Luke's gonna snap out of his shit and be like, "I've gotta go back. I've gotta, But then she just was like,
yep. What? Why did you even need... I guess you just had to knock her out for a bit, but I feel like there's better ways to knock her out. That was
I'm kind of
really
torn.
Silly.
I feel like that was a huge tease for the audience, because I think the audience thought, particularly with Carrie Fisher gone now, that they're like, this is it. Like,
I'm glad she's in the rest of the movie. She's very good, given a very prominent part.
It just creeped me out a little, too, because I'm like, she's dead.
Yeah, when you see her floating in space dead, it's like...
floating, frozen corpse. And it really looks like a frozen corpse. Just unconsciously going, and I'm just like...
She makes that sound too.
Yeah, I'm very curious if maybe they had this scene all done before she died, and I was like, well, I guess we'll keep it, but I'm not saying it felt inappropriate, but I was like, just felt very weird. Yeah, now that she's dead,
and just her flying back was very odd. So, but whatever.
I'm not sure I hated it as much as you, but I'm like, I get where you're coming from. I'm like, I don't know how to feel about it yet. I got to think about that.
Just I don't know.
As the whole ride home, I was like, did I like that?
Even without her passing away, it just feels silly, and that's saying a lot given Star Wars and space wizards and stuff. But I'm like, this just something about her in space that just.
Yeah,
flying towards the door.
I feel like maybe if she didn't assume the pose, like, if she didn't do that weird pose, maybe it would have worked, but...
What pose could you do that would look dignified? Would Carrie Fisher just or...
I don't know.
Like Karate Kid,
I thought she was gonna vanish into thin air and outer space.
See, like that? No, if she actually, like... disintegrated.
No, that's what I thought they were gonna do. I thought that was it.
So yeah,
other twists.
I didn't like that. I did not like that.
So Rey, unless they screw around in the third film and make her part of the lineage, I did kind of like the idea. It was like, that's right, you're a nobody, and I'm like, thank God. Finally, there's no connection. There's
I'm not 100% yet.
We'll see what happens. I honestly would kind of be for that. Because, like, it was like...
Well, why would they show her parents leaving away and her as a kid? And like, why would they build up all
here's
that?
My
one issue. Unless
like,
it was all just a MacGuffin.
These all seem to be built on, everybody's interconnected. Is this? But we forget who the fuck was Anakin. He was some piece of shit slave on a desert planet.
Well, that's what I'm almost wondering, because she looks in the mirror and says, who are my parents? And she sees herself. I'm like, is it another Anakin where she just popped out of nowhere?
Well, that's kind of what I'm thinking, because it seems to be they keep implying that with this, it's now the prequels are canon, so we're fucked. But, if that's canon, then I'm like, well, if you want to adhere to canon, then... she could be the next virgin birth to counteract Ben,
And they do make some references to the prequels, not many. But okay, so...
I did thank God when she's just like, but what is the Force? I was like, if Luke says, it's mini-chlorians, I was going to be like, fuck you, dude.
And the person that comes back is Yoda. And at first when I saw him, I went, oh no, I can't do that. But like within seconds... it won me over, because I think they go back to a puppet. It really looks like a puppet, but it looks like he's there, and it still kind of looks like he's alive.
He's so, like, Luke is a weird mixture of Kenobi and Yoda in this film. Did you notice that? He's got the trickster part of Yoda down, where he's like, get out of here. Like, there's a part of him that seems kind of a little lighthearted and Yoda-ish, but there's a very super serious part, that brooding Kenobi, like, no, ram a laser sword down your father's throat. It's the only civilized way. Like, But Yoda, he gets so serious, and he's, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna burn it to the ground. And Yoda just so lighthearted.
Literally, in this case, lightning-hearted.
Just kind of showing him the way and just saying, like, as if it really fucking matters. Which, any sage is really just kind of like that. Like, you could have pulled that out of any Taoist Zen text where it's just like, the words are meaningless.
Absolutely 100% my favorite scene. The scene where I thought, oh no, are we doing this, turned out to be my absolute favorite. And that the lines that he says, the way he acts, they'll start hitting him on the head when they both just sit down and look at the fire going and stuff, and you see the back of their heads. I mean, it's just like, wow, this feels like this is exactly where we should be. And this is exactly what should happen.
And I feel like Yoda just had that feeling, and he kind of nailed it, of just like, I've been waiting for this for a long time. Yeah, man, this guy's 800 years old, and he's seeing all the insanity this shit has caused. Like, maybe it's time to start over a bit. Like,
although, here's the other thing, too. It's like, because, I sort of get that they're like... they're the dead masters, they're the spirits, they're there to help guide you, and the spirits that help you. When he just waves his hand and lightning just explodes something, I'm like, okay, is that too powerful? That felt a little weird, it's just like, boom, explosion! Like, holy shit, why aren't they fighting the battles? Why isn't that like Return of the King where all these dead Jedi come in going, ah!
When 800-year-old spirit you reach, see what shit you can pull!
I mean, but again, it kind of ties into, because you see what Luke does at the end, which again, it evolves the Force. Like, it actually takes the Force and says, okay, let's evolve this to another level.
I've kind of been wondering for a while why they don't do that, where he does the astral projection thing, and I'm like, well, if you can do that from the spirit realm, can you do it? Now, I'm getting now why he doesn't, because it's like, apparently it killed him, like, used up all his energy, but...
Well, and then here's the other thing, too, and again, this... surprisingly, very intelligently ties into the prequels. Remember how at the end of Revenge of the Sith, Yoda is talking that, Liam Neeson, whatever his name is, has found a way to come back in spirit. Like what?
Qui-Gon Jinn and tonic.
Yeah, I mean, what? Like, this has never happened before. Someone has come back. So at the end of that, like, the Force has evolved, from a Great Master. And here, at the end of this one, it has evolved as well with what Luke could do at the end. But it's not so far removed beyond reality of the world where you're like, no, that could never happen. It's like, if there's anyone that could do it, it would be Luke at this stage. Like, everything feels like that could happen.
Well, and he, it also seems like he's sitting on some sort of. He's sitting on the Jedi equivalent of the Gozer building. It seems like this is just some sort of portal gate, all sorts of energies concentrated here. So, I liked that. A part of me wonders if he's gonna die anyway. If you could have just brought him to the planet and had him do it. But that whole battle was amazing.
No, because he wouldn't have been able to do all that probably. Or
yeah, that's true, because he did
because he
fire everything on Spock! I mean, Luke!
Yeah, he knew what he would do.
Yeah, I love that, and then he's still standing. Oh, that's a good point. And that whole scene, that high noon standoff.
Here's another thing I just realized. Okay, so there's a scene, I had to double check if it was, he gives Leia the dice from the Millennium Falcon. I'm pretty sure is what that was. And then when Ren comes in, he looks at him and they disappear too. So there's just a strange part of me that's saying, okay, he has to use all his energy. This is literally killing him to go and fight Kylo Ren and put off this, this illusion. And then when he has to physically,
in the meantime,
he's keeping those dice there. He's using his power. Like, okay, make sure the dice are still there. He's moving this. Make sure the dice are still there. Make sure the dice are still there. Just back of his head, is he just thinking that?
Doug, the dice were a focal point for my energy.
Sure. It was just
Doug, the dice are the key. Well, when you put it like that, you jackass. Don't ruin the movie for me.
No, you know what? Something else just popped in my head.
The twist, the twist, I had no. I just felt like it was just obvious. It's like, and now strike Rey down, and I'm like, and he kills Snoke. I was going into it, I felt like he's gonna kill Snoke. That's the only way, unless they have the balls to either turn Rey to the dark side and she kills both of them or joins us. I was almost hoping she was gonna join up with Kylo.
Part of me was almost hoping that too, but I'm like, nah, they didn't. If they did, they didn't build it up enough that she would do this.
But a part of me was kind of, because it was getting so challenging that I was like, that would be the ultimate challenge. Now, how do you watch this as Rey becomes dark side too? It was like, that'd be interesting.
Here's my other issue though, with Snoke. Who, I mean,
besides the name,
yes,
and the smoking jacket,
yes, is that okay? So again, we're in spoilers. This dude's dead. He gets killed off. Doesn't really do much when you think about it. No. Just sort of says, build another empire. They do it. That's about it. But okay, so he gets killed off. But there's this whole backstory. It's like, Luke was training, but I could feel the dark. Snoke has already gotten to him. Snoke did this. And I'm just like, now that he's dead, who the hell was this guy?
I know. I thought the same.
I'm just like, okay, well, we'll never know where this guy came from, or how he got to know Kylo Ren. They know Luke did it. And I'm usually like, the mystery is more powerful. But now that he's dead, I'm like, who was this asshole?
Well, and that's the problem, is the mystery would be more powerful. The mystery is more powerful worked with Palpatine. All these stupid names.
Yeah, I know.
Worked with Palpatine because you didn't see him in Star Wars. He was just referencing the Emperor. You barely saw him in Empire. It was just that one clip. And then he's finally revealed in the third one. There's this aura of mystery and scariness around him. It's like, when you left, you didn't think, who was this guy? You just thought, well, that was the Emperor. He was terrifying. That was fucking Emperor. And this one, from the very beginning, it's like, who is this guy he's talking to? He's referenced all the time. And then in this one, it's just like, they kill him off in the middle. It's like, who was this guy?
No, okay, here's my big problem, is that, you got Han Solo's son, the son, of this guy's, sister, and he's training him, and just, Snoke got him. And it's like, well, how did Snoke know you? Literally, a sentence or two would be fine. I don't need much, just something to connect me somehow. How did he know Snoke? How did Luke know Snoke?
This was my problem.
Were they lightsaber buddies? Did they drink at Mos Eisley? It's like, how did this work?
This was my problem with the Abrams movie. They gave you no context or backstory. It was the one glaring thing, more than the callbacks. The callbacks, I'm like, all right, they're callbacks, whatever. It was just more the way I felt little connection to what was going on. They blow up the Republic's headquarters or something, and I'm like, was that the Republic headquarters?
Yeah,
what's going on here? There was a whole subplot with Leia's attendant going to try to beg, how this system was working, where there's how can there be a resistance if there's a Republic and there's a new, it never gave the backstory for that, and then we never get a backstory with Snoke unless they're saving that for the third film. I mean, maybe they'll pull it out in the third film.
It'd be impressive to see how they do that now that he's dead, but
you would have to flashback, which I don't. Only Rogue One is the only one that's done that. There have been no flashbacks. I guess there's been brief flashbacks in Force Awakens. But
but not much. Yeah. So
I'm trying to think if there's any other spoilers.
the little furry things are not the worst, but they're a little annoying. They're just toys. They have no purpose. What you think they are is exactly what they are. It's not just one of them. There's a ton of them. I don't know if that's better or worse.
They literally display the price it costs to buy.
Yeah, like they just walk out. It's like, $5.95. Just $5.95, $5.95, like that.
Leia finally gets her damn hug, or Chewie finally gets his damn hug.
Yeah,
with Leia.
you happy? Weird.
Who gave a fuck?
Yeah.
Seriously, like I still hear about that shit. Like, how could Leia? I'm like,
but Rob, did Han still shoot first? This is important. This is so important.
That's way more important.
I do argue that's more important, but it's still stupid. Who gives a shit?
Change the whole character, yeah. And I felt like the way they did it would just like Chewie. I'm like, yeah, like somebody. They were just like,
yeah. See you guys.
Laura Dern.
I didn't like her. What'd you think? Like, she isn't awful or anything. She just seemed miscast.
I think she was miscast. I never felt like she could command.
Yeah, she didn't feel like a general. She's like, okay. She kind of sounds like an angry mother talking to her team. All right, look, we are.
It's very
not
soccer momish.
Doing that. Okay. Like there's no authority.
When they kind of pulled out the blasters or whatever, I just felt like, how did this not happen even earlier? Because I felt like there was a vote of no confidence. I have no problem.
And why did they tell them the plan? It's like, aha, you see what we're trying to do, Poe? It was all to get to the planet. Why did you say that before? You literally had a mutiny. There was no reason to keep this secret.
I feel like Leia's like, because, Poe, you needed to learn a valuable lesson.
Yeah, so you can learn a lesson later. Yeah, so little things like that are kind of dumb, but I feel like they're not awful. They're just like little, but look at that cool thing. Look at that cool thing.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the problem where it's hard to compare it to Empire because Empire had them on the run, and it was always this constant chase. The chase here is this war of attrition with this really slow-moving cruiser and this really slow-moving Star Destroyer, and it would keep cutting back to like, pew, 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 pew,
and you get a couple of shots. Ship, it's like, it's too far out of range. Well, if they go to light speed, we can't follow. It's like, why don't they just go a little faster? It's like, well, if we can go to light speed and we have tons of fuel, why don't we just go a little less than light speed to catch up to them?
Well, one wonders why you couldn't just light speed ahead, like the 4 feet or whatever. Like, I don't know how the mechanics of it work.
Space battles in this, by the way, are wonderful.
Yeah, in the final shot where that cruiser, like when they hyperspace through that thing.
I always wonder why somebody never did that.
Silence there was just, the silence was great, and everybody was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
That was great. The cutting Kylo Ren in half. Cutting Snoke in half.
I missed that scene.
No, they cutting Snoke in half. And then when Rey and Kylo join up, like, I'm calling it. We started that applause.
Oh, yeah. Rob was like, just went right into it. Everyone's like,
yeah, because it was awesome.
No, it was very awesome.
There were like 3 other applause moments, and we didn't start those. But I'm calling that one. That was the first big applause moment, and we did that. But that was us.
Again, just pure nitpicking, but you got all these ninja red guys who really suck at protecting their emperors.
They really
suck at protecting their emperors. Awful at their jobs.
Why did they bother? After about 5 of them go down, I would figure the last 3 would be like, you know what?
No! Wait. Okay. Because they're in the big ship and everything, just, they all go down. By sending like 1 million stormtroopers, okay? Emperor's dead. Yeah, get your asses in here. I mean, but not once are they like, no, we're red Jedi lightsaber ninjas or whatever.
Why are they bothering? It's Supreme Leader Snoke is dead.
Hail Rey, the wicked Emperor's dead.
Yeah, I kind of want, I wanted to go like Wizard of Oz, you killed him. I feel like, okay, at first maybe they're but when it's just like the last 3 of them left, I just, if I were one of those red guys, I'd be like, I'm good. Like, you want it? Go ahead.
To just paint this outfit yellow, because I'm out of here.
Do it. I'm fine. So, yeah, I think the only the only twist that got me was just the fact that there was no twist with Rey. It's just, no, your parents are trash. The end.
Yeah, I don't know. I know what you're saying with you're hoping that's it, because it's like, I get it. I like the idea of somebody just coming from nowhere, and like, you don't have to be related from great blood and stuff like that, but...
This is a battle between...
But why are you building that up so much, though? I don't know. Like, they were really building that up.
Well, I think maybe it's
Who is it? Who are they? Who? And I'm just like...
It might be a MacGuffin. If they don't do it, they don't do it. If they do it... If they do it, then there's a juxtaposition between Ben, because we're going to lose Leia, that seems certain. Yeah. There's a juxtaposition between Ben as the last of this Skywalker fucking dynasty that started with asshole Anakin. Yippee! And now you've got just this complete newcomer, not related to anybody, you know, comes out of nowhere. Yeah, it's a nice duel to finally be like, she represents literally the fresh start out of left field.
No, I'd be lying if I said I didn't kind of like that too, but it's like there was so much build up to, and, you know, it's something I realized, because they built this thing, this island has, you know, it has the light side, it has the dark side. There's two sides to every Schwartz. And there's and there's this hole, and she goes into, you know, the hole, and she sees, you know, all these mirrors and stuff. And I was thinking to myself, well, that didn't seem too dark. I mean, she just sees a mirror, and she snaps, and then, oh, I see my parents, it was myself. Oh, it just felt so empty and alone and stuff. I was thinking, like, well, why was that so terrible? And I realized something.
Well, for her it would be.
No. See, but I realized something else, apart from, you know, that she doesn't like that her parents were nobodies and abandoned her and stuff, but that, you know, what are the Jedi, and that you got Luke and you got Yoda and stuff, they're literally setting the past on fire. Let it die. No, it's done. We have our knowledge. And she's searching for the answer. No, I gotta know. I have to. And she's trying to bind herself to something.
She has no answers, and two, all she sees is herself. She's the new start. So basically, for somebody who wants all of these answers, and Luke, do this for me. Luke, I want to become Jedi, and like she goes down into that cave, and all she sees is a reflection of herself.
And again, this is a
and
good.
She's like, she's the fresh start, which would be terrifying.
No, and again, this is what we're talking about with rhymes and repeating. Okay, that scene kind of rhymes in Empire Strikes Back when he fights Vader in that dark area, and he sees himself in Vader's mask. Repeating would be, there's Kylo Ren, she kills him, and it turns out it's her as Kylo Ren. That would be repeating. A rhyme is a similar idea where you're searching for something. It's a dark place and you see yourself, but it can represent something else.
In this case, an infinite reflection of herself.
So that's what I'm talking about.
She is all there is, not that, oh, Luke is, or Vader is Luke's father, or that killing him would be like, it's like literally all she sees is herself, an infinite reflection. That leads basically to the end, which just leads to another mirror, which is a reflection of herself.
So it's a similar idea, but it's not the exact same beat for beat, you know, thing. And
Force Awakens, take notes.
Yes. Well, it's done now. Yeah, with the special edition.
I know, but it's like when I think back to stupid lines like, all right, so it's bigger. How do we just... I'm just like, you just admitted you're doing the same thing again.
But again, as I said in the Nostalgia Critic review, I get a little bit more why they did it. It's to set it up. Okay, we can do this. Now we're gonna take this in new territory, but it's still familiar, but it's also like new, and it's Star Wars.
I feel like this is knocking Force Awakens, like what Force Awakens built as if to say, well, we'll continue this along the same path. This knocks Force Awakens down and says, pulls the rug out from under us, some of the familiarity, and says, fuck you! Like, you thought it was gonna be all just the same thing I repeat again.
But ironically, like how Empire Strikes Back did, too. See, again, it is that rhyme. It's not repeated, it is rhyme. And it's so funny that we're quoting Lucas so much on that. But this...
Well, I think at one point he knew what he was doing.
Well, no, and here's the thing.
He's the one who said special effects are just a tool.
No, you know, but here's the other thing.
What happened to that guy?
No, but here's the other thing, too. When you hear him in interviews and stuff like that, he is a smart guy. He's a very eloquent guy, and he is usually very good with words and stuff like that.
I just don't think he can direct.
Yeah, so I feel like there is still value to be had from him, definitely. I mean, that sounds bad. I have no idea what the guy is like. He could be super, super sweet. Didn't he give like all the money he made from selling this to like charity or something?
This sounds crueler and crueler. It's like there is some value.
No, yeah. No, when I said that,
trash, just like Ray.
He's gone to the dark side. No, I mean, when I talk about that, I mean like, artistically and stuff. And it's like, even then, it's like, that's very cruel. I don't know this person. He could be super sweet and super nice. Honestly, he seems very sweet and nice. What I'm saying is that there's many things that he can say that, okay, so he directed, movies that we don't like that's connected to his property. There's still a lot of great things he can say and do, and, every person has
that. I mean, since we're in spoiler corner, even not just the way it's different and is tearing down Force Awakens, but even the things it referenced. I mean, frickin' Snoke says himself, she could barely carry a lightsaber and defeated you. You're conflicted. Like, it's referencing things that happen in Force Awakens that people have problems with and saying, no, this is part of the story. He sucks at what he does. Yeah. And there's a reason, because he's conflicted. So they seem to acknowledge that it's like, who the fuck is this? She came out of nowhere. And it's so weird that people have a problem with that, because I'm like, well, that's what Anakin did. Now,
granted, Luke is blood related, but he kind of came out of nowhere.
Well, I suppose people are like, well, I don't like Anakin either. But if you had executed that properly, I doubt anybody would have given a shit.
Well, Luke,
it's just because the direction was so bad in the prequels.
Well, and Luke, at first, seemed to come out of nowhere. He was just this farm boy that had all this. But, okay, when you were watching that movie for the first time, you're saying, well, he's nobody, sir. I don't understand this. It's like, no, it's still awesome that he does all this. It's like, it's cool. This little farm boy that comes from nowhere and he fucking blows up the bad guy. I mean, it's cool.
No, Luke is a way more complex character, because as a farm boy who was able to bullseye some fucking rats on his desert planet, he was able to defeat his ace pilot dad from the Clone Wars, who's a dark master of the Force, and blow up the Death Star after receiving like 20 minutes of Jedi training with a wiffle ball. What the fuck? But he's not a Gary Stu, no. I don't know.
Other weird question. Who were those weird nurses on his island? Like, every once in a while, like, I think of how great it is, and then I just think of little details. I'm like, what was that?
They're the lizard nuns.
Of course! Lizard nuns!
No, I swear to God, like, instantly I was like, I know exactly what it is. These are the nuns of the monastery who are taking care of the place, and they're lizards for some reason. I didn't like him that much either, but...
I mean, I always know it can get worse, so it's like I can't be too mean, but I'm always like, yeah, that was weird. It's like, I think it's just this grand epic thing, and I just think of like these little details, like, yeah, what was that? I feel like I'm gonna see more of those as I watch it more, but I'm gonna be so blindsided by how big and huge and emotionally gripping it is.
It's a legitimate problem with the film, because there were moments that took me out of the epicness when it would get a little too goofy.
Yeah.
Like that, so that's
a lot of the comedy is good. Like the lines, the written lines are very good.
Just when he sees 3PO again, Master Luke, I love that wink he gave him. As he walked by, I was like, that just seemed like a Luke thing to do. Like, I liked him talking to R2 again, and like a lot of Mark Hamill's comedic bits I thought really worked.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's the Joker. Kind of figures he'd be really good at the comedy. Oh, you feel? Yeah, that's the Force. You feeling the Force?
Oh, and the other twist that I kind of saw coming, it's like, he tried to kill me. I'm like, yeah, like I kind of figured that's where they were going with that. Like, Luke is not being completely honest, and he tried to take the first shot, kind of.
I didn't know about that either. That felt so like, oh, what a coincidence that the minute, like, he was just thinking for a second, maybe I should kill him. Nah, that's an awful thing. And then he just happened to wake up and see him at that exact moment. No, you don't understand. Which, granted, how do you explain that I was gonna kill you?
I can see now where Mark Hamill was telling this guy, like, I disagree with every single thing you're doing, but I will do it. Like, because he's got to be protective of this character, and this is not a very kind movie to Luke Skywalker. Like, he comes across as like, I ran away, I was gonna kind of kill this kid, I had second thoughts, but now I created this guy, I don't want to train you, I don't want to go even see my fucking sister, he's definitely a very jaded, more bitter character. But it's challenging. I like that for He's like, okay, this is not the happy.
But then you also think about, the wisest, most beloved Jedi, Yoda. He did that too.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
no,
So
he
I mean,
left.
it's something where it's like, again, these kind of but it's like
Go into
he's,
exile, I must.
but he's not Yoda. He is,
and he
still
didn't want
his
to
own
train. He
thing.
didn't want to train Luke.
Yeah. So
Who's this schmuck? Like,
yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I really feel like I like talking about these characters like, well, that's kind of like what this person did, you know? But you see how that would rub off on them and how that would have it's like talking like real people.
Rhymes.
Yeah. No, I really think that's a perfect way to put this. It doesn't repeat, it rhymes, and they're good rhymes. They're very, very good rhymes.
I feel like definitely at the end of this trilogy, we're going to be done. Like, these 9 movies, it's just like, that's it. Whatever happens from now on is separate from, you know...
Well, they said they want to do another 3.
Well, no,
after,
but I feel like that other 3 is going to be fresh.
Yeah,
we're not going to be
like
connected to Luke and Han and, like, none of
I'm sure we'll be connected to, like, Rey and Finn and stuff. I mean, again,
it might be connected to them, but
yeah,
I'm just
but
saying...
like, the whole
crux,
Skywalker thing
the whole
is gonna
crux
be
of this
gone,
movie
yeah.
was about just burying the past.
Yeah.
Kylo says it. He's like, to bury the past. I was like, I feel like they're almost talking to Disney and themselves. Like, we need to bury this shit. We've had the prequels, we've had the original 3. It's like, we're gonna have to make it fresh and do something different. This is all about killing it.
It's one of those beautiful.
Move on.
It's that beautiful convenience where it makes sense to the story and it makes sense from a marketing standpoint.
Yeah.
Which Disney seems to be on a roll with.
We just bought Fox. Suck it.
Yeah. So yeah, man.
Next, we're coming for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna feel sad when the mouse buys us and whips us to watch.
It's gonna be like that scene in the Bluesers. How much for the little girl? Your children, sell them to me. God almighty, that company's a monster.
Yeah, but they're very entertaining right
now.
now.
I feel like I want to almost, like, after the news today, I kind of want to hate them.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, Jesus, are you just gonna run the world? But I'm just like, I don't hate this movie. Like, now there is shit they've done that I did not like. Beauty and the Beast. I hated cinema. Most of their remakes I hate, so.
Yeah. But this is pretty solid.
That's right. Fork it over.
Yeah, no.
Keep it coming.
Just keep it coming. I'll watch them. This is really, really good.
It's bread and circuses, but what delicious bread and what fucking circuses!
So that's about it. I'm sure we're going on as much as we can about this. So go see yourself. I know you're going to have your own
you'll have your own opinions.
Extreme opinions. And
I'll
stuff
say
like that.
it is a challenge. This will be one where people are just like, I didn't like it. I'm like, I'll get this way more than other Star Wars films would be like, I could see how you wouldn't like it. Like, it fucks with your head a little. It definitely is not.
I guess what characters that you've grown up with and
we've
stuff.
We've grown to want to believe the happily ever after Ewok ending. We wanted, yup, and I was laughing, great, and this just is not that.
Yeah.
So,
but I'm very much okay with that. I'm
okay with it too. I like the challenge.
If you're not okay with it, you would not be seeing more Star Wars movies.
No.
So I feel like most people that see it
I feel this though. I think this will be like, for some people that have been on the fence after Force Awakens, this is gonna be the make or break moment. Because if you don't like it now, I'm like, they're gonna be like, I'm not showing up to the third one, and I would get that because like this one is where you gotta look at it and be like, wow, all right, this is where we went with these characters. This is not what I imagined, and I don't like it. I'm not going to watch the third one. Or this is challenging, and I may have issues with it, but, it kind of surprised me. I want to see what they do with it, so.
Yeah, this won me over. I'm now, where the first one's like, okay, well, that's a lot of repeat, but man, are we going to do this again? Is this next one just going to be Empire? And it's really won me over, and I'm really excited. Actually, it was the Two Towers, I guess, because Two Towers got me really excited for Lord of the Rings, and then that just really hyped me up for Return of the King, I'm sure
Return of the King was kind of the best of them, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, maybe, who knows?
Maybe that'll be this series. Like, the third will actually be the best.
Yeah, maybe
this was
better.
pretty good.
Yeah.
But I just. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know where you go from it.
Yeah, me too. I like
Luke gone, and like Leia, they're gonna have to kill. So,
obviously the conflict's gonna be between Rey and Kylo Ren, but that's everything else. I'm kind of like, I don't know. but I like that. I don't know.
Kill if Rey kills Kylo Ren, becomes a Dark Empress herself, and then a new trilogy starts over trying to defeat her.
Wait, wouldn't that be something? And then it's like, and then it's like, Finn actually was the hero the whole time, and the main hero. And now you have to follow him to defeat Rey.
Phasma comes out of the fire to save the galaxy.
Oh, she Come on, you could have done more with her still.
I'm
They give her
laughing.
a fight, but I'm
laughing
because
you know that
she can't survive that.
No, she can. I'm gonna bet you I will bet you money right now. I will throw down money that she will come back with a scarred face, all burnt to a crisp, like, "It on, bitch!" It's gonna happen. You know it.
I both do and don't want to see that.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. As stupid as it is, yeah, you do.
So, yeah, that's about it. Go see Ferdinand. It's great.
Yeah. I got nothing. Why did you... That was a stupid joke.
Rob, it comes full circle. Like Star Wars.
No, it didn't.
It rhymed.
You know what? It did come full circle. It's bullshit.
It rhymes.
Jar Jar is the key. Shut that door.